forgive me for this trap shit. Sergeant Smack making backflip. Telly Hank did with the action. With the Vato speaking Spanish. Frank Matthews, how I vanish. Poof. Came back like I'm King Tut. Gold BBS is on a beamer. When Fat Cat was 10 queens up. Ball off the profit, not the re-up. Fly like Puerto Rican Jesus. Uptown like I'm Baby May. Just caught a touchdown from the Bay.
Hey, do it for the young man. Yeah, man, I had to do a video cut. I know y'all can't read. But y'all stop busting out these maggot ass hoes, man, with that good bottom, man. Yeah, cause you get caught up, go down the road. She ain't gonna do nothing but let another nigga bust in her. That always been the game, lane. Shrimp basket. Real quick. The 520. Look, that's your Honda, man. Here you go home. Here you go home. Hold down, you match. Y'all young nigga hold down. Give me one of the walls. Let me get the dog. Give me a water. I ain't get one. Hey man, you gotta be on your feet. That's all y'all gonna eat though. Y'all nigga one guy. You feel me? Y'all gotta rock out together though. Yeah. 1, 2, 3 of y'all got something, man. Don't never leave nobody starving. You hear me? Y'all gotta fuck with each other, bro. You hear me? Go along. East side.
My boy, thank you. So, I won't tell Trouble thank you. He always supported me, you know. You know, my nigga, you know, and I'm hurting for y'all because I'm hurting for 5 years. You know, I wasn't with him 30 years, you know, so I just want to tell that nigga thank you, you know, for that was my boy, you know, and I just want to tell him thank you, that was my boy.
New Vet Tuesday. Yeah, you already know what it is, man. Sure, nigga. Withdrawals on the way, nigga. You already know. That was paid for move made.
Design the vibe how the you want to do it, yeah. Thugging and loving it, yeah. The one like the mother, yeah, you better leave, go do it to the top of the mother, hold the back, bitch. Yeah, you talking about, yeah. People can look at the top of that hole. I'm talking about, yeah, they eat. Yeah, they eat. Yeah, you talking about bad ass MOBB sending out. Mine a lot more than me and my brother. Mine on millions of billions. Many bullets, many bullets behind this. Woohoo. Hello. My boy DeAndre, my boy, he got free dog, but he got shit license. He ain't gon', I mean, but that shit crazy. But from dog, I used to be busting all the move on. He the first nigga who actually put me in the turf and put me to work though. That started giving me money and shit. Like when I was broke as fuck, all up from Edgewood. Like I don't know nobody who know like the whole duct tape, all this shit. Like we all zone shit Edgewood, same project. But like I ain't get with dog them. I ain't get with duct tape until probably like five months of being on the run. But everybody just already knew about me and shit, like just from the work I was putting down. But I ain't never even, everybody used to call me L, like my last two letters of my first name. Okay. So like D-Trey just end up just going, you know how niggas just be talking shit on the block and shit. He ended up just running that goddamn mouth telling niggas I was the one who was busting all the moves and shit. So like during them times shit, any nigga who had in the jury, like in the A and shit, like who was just flexing and shit, like all that shit came from me. So dog just started telling nigga like, man, hey, like Mariel back there, woo, my real name and everything. Like Mariel goddamn be going crazy, goddamn woo, you the one goddamn be putting it down, woo. So I leave from the apartment, I stayed in 41E. So that's why that shit on the Edgewood project and shit. That's why I titled that motherfucker Edgewood 41E. That was my project build. So I push off in that motherfucker condemnation, Connor Hutchinson shit, and niggas just out there motherfucker just josing, just talking shit. So soon I pull up, nigga like, man, yeah, I never forget nigga like, well, hell nah, you need going on, but you ain't number trouble, but you be on the bullshit. Nigga been hearing about you. So I'm just right there like, the hell nigga talking about, you feel me? Like, nigga had never hit me with that. Like, the hell you talking about? Like, yeah, nah, man. DeAndre been telling her, why you crazy? So but nigga just jokes like these, you know what I mean? We hood homies, but nigga just talking shit and shit. Like, why you ain't number trouble? And that shit was going on back to back to back like the Bulls. Every time I pull up, got down toward the block or anywhere at the park or there when niggas up there hooping and shit, night games. Hell nah, get the fuck home, boy. You ain't number truck. So it just end up sticking. So it went from L to truck, man. Nigga just been on that one ever since.
Were you shocked at the response? Because that's a whole lot of people to pull up on a weekend.
I mean, I expected people to pull up, but not for it to be so as massive as it was.
Trouble's record label, Def Jam, calling him a true voice for his city. And this video from the spring of 2019 is evidence of that. The rapper back then, one of the organizers of a nonviolence event called Guns Down, Water Guns Up. Trouble spoke with our culture correspondent Naima Abdullahi about how he wanted to use his troubled past to build a positive future for the community.
Might have brought it to my attention yesterday, like, man, you went from making the news for problems, like for what you going against right now, and then making the news on a positive note.
The event at Peterson Park in Southwest Atlanta did receive some criticism over whether some of the hundreds of attendees took it too far by soaking officers with water guns. Trouble and others called it a success. And new details tonight involving the death of Atlanta rapper Trouble. Arrest warrants obtained by 11 Alive detail what investigators believe happened in the minutes leading up to the shooting and why the suspect allegedly fired on Trouble. Joe Henke is here now with details of what the warrants reveal. Joe?
Sheba, the arrest warrants we received today detail Jamichael Jones, the suspected killer in this case, only spending 7 minutes at the apartment complex in Rockdale County where Mariel, also known as Trouble, was killed early Sunday. It happened in an apartment described as the home of Jones's ex-girlfriend. Early this morning, Jamichael Jones turned himself in to Rockdale County Sheriff's deputies after the Sheriff's Office began visiting places Jones is known to live or frequent. Deputies went to his mother's house where she told her son by phone to turn himself in and handed the phone to a deputy.
His mother was a huge resource in helping us apprehend him.
Jones arranged with deputies to surrender at a hospital. He is now charged with felony murder for rapper Trouble's death, along with aggravated assault, home invasion, and battery. Hours later, during his first court appearance,
Jamichael Jones,
the judge denied Jones' bond. Meanwhile, the Rockdale County Sheriff's Office says investigators are still piecing together what happened Sunday.
Could be possible more charges. Again, this is an ongoing investigation, and we'll determine that at the conclusion of the investigation.
Jones's arrest warrants detail what the investigation has uncovered so far. He's accused of arriving at his ex-girlfriend's apartment complex in Conyers at 3:14 a.m. Sunday before forcing his way into her home. That woman says she was asleep in her bed with Trouble when she woke up to Jones punching her face. Jones and Trouble then began fighting, and according to the warrant, Jones pulled out a handgun and shot Mr. Orr and left the scene. An investigator wrote in the warrant, video shows Jones's vehicle leaving at 3:21, 7 minutes after arriving. The woman told the sheriff's office she dated Jones for 3 years, lived at the apartment together, but he had not been home since a week ago when they broke up. And after being denied bond in court today, Jones is now being held at the Rockdale County Jail. He's scheduled to be back in court a week from tomorrow on June 15th.
Atlanta, I need y'all in the comment box. We talking about one of the guys. What up, though? This year's Popalot. Meet us on the east side. This shit got Edgewood implications. Now, this is going to be a story about the real Atlanta and the guys in it. I remember doing an episode on Pee Wee Roscoe not too long ago, and I talked about him being a son of Atlanta. And I also referenced Little Baby as being a son of Atlanta. I would throw Young Thug in that conversation. And there's quite a few other guys that you could mention. I would even say Bankroll Fresh. And the guy that we're covering today is definitely going to be one of those guys. From the way that he talked, his approach, the way that he acted. And the person that I'm talking about and speaking of is going to be a guy by the name of Mariel Samante Orr. But the entire city of Atlanta and the world became to know him as Trouble. Now, some people could call Trouble an up-and-coming artist or an artist on the breakthrough, but it's hard to call somebody that has songs with Drake that was produced by Mike Will Made It, and songs with Juicy J, and songs with Young Thug, somebody on the come up. And almost in the same mode as a good friend of his, Boosie, he is almost as known for his hot takes and his views online as he is from his music. But no matter how funny his IG lives was or how real his point of views was, you really can't take away from his hustle for doing music. As I remember seeing Trouble as early as almost 2010, I want to say, with him breaking on the scene with the guys from Duct Tape or DTE, Big Bank Black, and Alley Boy. And almost from the start of everything, you would see his potential. He would go on to release his debut mixtape in April of 2011, titled December 17th. Some people would consider that mixtape an Atlanta classic, and it would have guest featurings by Future, Alley Boy, Waka Flocka, and Complex Magazine would even name the mixtape one of the best 25 released in the year of 2011. And in a city like Atlanta, where you have so many different music styles, like futuristic, you got people doing the trap music, they even had snap music at one time. Trouble is going to be one of those artists that doesn't really fall into any of those lanes. And if I was forced to describe the music, I couldn't call it nothing other than Atlanta music. Now, coming from what he and most people would call the heart of the city, the East Side, Zone 6, Edgewood. Before the music, if you know the Duct Tape niggas, they was on some Duct Tape shit, and Trouble seemed to fit right in. He would release another mixtape in 2011 titled Greenlight, and he would pretty much follow on after that, dropping at least one mixtape every year up into 2017. And by that time, he would have been done featured alongside Lupe Fiasco, Glasses Malone, Wyeth and Lucci, and it would eventually lead him being signed to the home of Ray Shermer, Eardrummer Records, which is owned by Mike Will Made It. He would eventually drop 2 solo studio albums, Edgewood in 2018 and Thug Love in 2020. And it seemed like he was beginning to gain more notoriety after being in the game, paying his dues and putting in work for nearly a decade. And for somebody who was online pretty much saying a lot of the stuff that people thought but didn't want to say, and would be spitting the realest game on certain topics, especially situations involving females, it would make everything in the events surrounding the tragedy on June 5th, 2022 more crazy. According to 11 Alive, Trouble would find himself in Rockdale County in an apartment complex in Conyers, Georgia, where he would be in bed with an unidentified female, when at about 3 a.m., an individual by the name of Jamarcus Jones, who had been the ex-boyfriend of the girl Trouble had been spending the night with, had showed up at the apartment after not being there for about a week after the unidentified female supposedly had broken up with him. Now, according to news reports, it was said that Jermichael Jones would proceed to attack his ex-girlfriend. Now, according to the reports, and trying to put yourself in that same situation, Trouble probably woke up to this commotion where it was said that he would end up getting into a confrontation with Jermichael Jones. And it was during that confrontation where Jermichael Jones would produce a handgun that he would use to shoot Trouble in the chest, fatally wounding him. Now, I don't know about y'all, but even before this, I was on point when spending the night at a chick's house or somewhere I ain't spent a night at before. But when I say I slept light, man, because the only thing that I could think is if that shit could happen to Trouble, anybody is at risk, because he know exactly what go on in both those situations. As far as going into a house under those circumstances, not saying that he would be in there confronting a female, if you know what I mean, but also on the other end, as far as spitting game to being that guy in that bedroom. And after his death, it would be a lot of speculation. Some people even blaming the female he had been visiting, where I would see an interview with Young Jock, and he would say that in his eyes that she was partially to blame for the death of Trouble. And some people might feel the same way with, after only breaking up with a dude for a week, she got somebody in the house laying up, but people's business is their business. But through it all, to me, the biggest tragedy is that Trouble never really got a chance to hit his full potential, because he was definitely one of the hotter artists coming out of Atlanta in my eyes, and somebody that I would say definitely put in that work. But just like some of the other guys that don't make it mainstream, I kind of always thought that the industry kind of figured that Trouble was just too street for the game. So they would only let him get as big as he was able to get. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Losing an artist like Trouble in any city, on any music scene, is going to hurt. But I definitely think it hurt a lot in Atlanta because he just embodied the city so much. I really can't name too many more artists that I would say are Atlanta more than I would say Trouble. And if you could think of one, you mentioned them. Some people might name 2 Chainz and like I said earlier, Bankroll Fresh. If I had to pick one, I'm rolling with Trouble. Y'all make sure y'all hit the red subscribe button and that bell right under this video so y'all know when this real Trill Spill shit is dropping. Y'all get in the comment box below. I definitely want y'all to flood it with y'all favorite Trouble songs. And shit, I got a few. I would say Thief in the Night with Young Thug. I would say, shit, this Molly World shit I heard way back in the days on one of them Future mixtapes. Brick. He just got some heat. Y'all make sure y'all get down there. Let me know what cities we need to go to, what stories we need to cover, who we missed, what we got wrong, all of that. If y'all need to tap in with me directly, y'all get at me on Instagram, Twitter, POP_A_LOT. And I'm going to be back with more of the real. You already know how we rocking. Atlanta, we appreciate y'all rolling out the red carpet. Y'all know this is like second home. We going to be back before y'all know it. And this shit got Popalot. Whole lot of mob shit going on.